I'm sorry to bother you again, but Jane told me about the lady in black.
What lady in black? Jane never said anything to me about a lady in black. That kid is so weird. I just don't get her.
She seems very concerned about you.
Yes, I know. I just don't know how to be a stepmother to her. She's just so strange. Look, just forget about me. You can't help me, and that's that. I'm sorry.
Linda, you have to give me a chance. Everyone is so worried about you. If you just tell me what's happened, maybe I could help. Linda, I made a promise to your mother and I plan to keep it. I'm here for you when you need me. Oh, it's just a parrot.
Scared ya?
No, you didn't.
Did you? Did you?
What's your name?
Lolo, 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 Lolo.
Okay, I get the point. Lulu.
Lolo, 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 Lolo.
Do you by any chance know Latin?
Quiste rogabit, bene vidi vici, semper ubi sub ubi, morituri status.
I'll take that as a yes. Would you mind translating something for me?
Fire away.
Equinoctium autumnalis.
The longest day of the year is solstitium, the summer solstice. The shortest day is bruma, the winter solstice. Equinoctium vernum is a spring equinox. Equinoctium autumnalis is a fall equinox. Day equals night. Lulu's always right.
Bye, bird.
Lulu. Who's the pretty bird in the mirror?
I need the key. This must be Mrs. Drake's room. There goes my cell phone. Hello?
Hi, Nancy. It's Mrs. Petrov. How is everything? Have you seen Linda yet?
Literally speaking, no, but I did talk to her. Not that she told me anything.
I'm just about at my wit's end. I've never known her to act like this. The last doctor that examined her said that aside from a little dry skin, which is not unusual for her, she was perfectly fine.
Why is she hiding behind that curtain?
I have no idea. When I was out there last week, I got fed up and pulled the curtain back. She threw a fit, but otherwise she looked absolutely normal. A little pale, perhaps, but who wouldn't be pale, cooped up like that? Something has changed her. Something in that house. Hugh is just as bewildered and upset by her behavior as I am. Please get to the bottom of this, Nancy. You're our last hope.
Where is Hugh?
He was called to Rome. As a diplomat, he's always being called out of the country without warning and without any say in the matter. He'd much rather be there with Linda, although...
Although what?
It's just that Hugh said it hasn't been very easy for him to talk to her lately. Whenever he calls, which is at least once a day, Linda always seems to fly off the handle for no reason, which doesn't make sense. Linda has always been extremely level-headed and even-tempered. She never gets angry. At least she didn't used to.
Who exactly is Mrs. Drake?
She's Hugh's aunt. She's taken care of Blackmoor Manor ever since her brother died. He was Hugh's father. She's a bit of a character.
In what way?
The way she spends all her time in that conservatory, slouching around, trowel in hand, murmuring to herself. You'd think she was burying something. Or somebody.
Goodbye, Mrs. Petrov.
Goodbye, Nancy. Oh, one more thing. My niece is on call and her husband's out of town, and I told her I'd go over there and babysit if she had to work. So if you call and I don't answer, that's why. Bye.
Looks like John Penbelin may have developed some of the plants that are in here himself. Doesn't work. A carnivorous plant. Cool. Messing with her plants is probably not a good idea.
All settled in? Good. I'm happy that you're visiting Linda, but I know how much you teenagers like your televisions and loud stereos, so I must insist that you act respectfully and civilly while you stay with us. Since my nephew Hugh is away on business, I am in charge of this household. And if there's one thing I cannot stand, it's noise. Hugh's daughter Jane is staying with us and would very much like to meet you, but please try not to distract her. She has her studies and mustn't be disturbed during her lessons.
Is anyone else staying here?
We do not have any permanent house staff, if that's what you mean. The Penvillans have always been self-reliant. We get on quite well without being continuously mollycoddled by a squadron of insipid, gossiping ne'er-do-wells. Now, we do have two other house guests. Our Mr. Nigel Mukherjee, who is researching the Penvillan family history in the library, and Ethel Bossany, Jane's tutor.
Do you know what's wrong with Linda?
Oh, Linda simply needs some time to adjust to her new living situation. England is not the United States. We do things differently, or should I say properly, here. The doctor believes it's just a case of nerves.
Her mother told me she refuses to let anyone see her. Is that true?
I don't know, and the doctors don't know. No one seems to know anything. All I've been told is that Linda is unwell and that in her stead, I must look after matters. Now, please, I really do not have time to entertain you. You may have the run of the house, but do not break anything, and refrain from mucking about with items that aren't yours. Two rules Jane seems incapable of following. And before I forget, our kitchen is being remodeled, so our dining situation is rather unorthodox. I've made arrangements with a local restaurant to deliver meals to us. There should be a programmed number for them on the phone in your room. Feel free to order whatever you'd like.
I spoke with Mr. Tucker at the Boar's Head pub, but frankly, I'm not at all sure what he said.
Yes, his language is quite colourful, isn't it? He's Cockney, you see. My brother Alan and I loved to make up Cockney rhymes when we were young. We'd drive our governess quite batty. Haven't got a pot of glue, haven't got a pot of glue. Ha! How we teased her.
Pot of glue?
A clue, dear. Haven't got a clue. Rhymes with glue, you see.
The picture book in Jane's room. Do you know much about its history?
My brother Alan found it somewhere in the house. He was quite fascinated by it, but he'd never let me look at it.
I'm concerned about that thing I saw outside.
It was purely your imagination, unless you saw a stray dog. But I will not countenance any histrionics about this issue. We have enough to worry about with Linda. And please do not get any ideas about going outside to investigate. I do not want you tracking mud all over this house.
What was your brother Alan like?
He was quite remarkable. He taught linguistics and computer science and won many prestigious awards. He loved games, especially pranks, and was forever tinkering with this and that. I do miss him sometimes, but now he's gone. He died a month after my husband passed away, and ever since I've been here all alone. Until Hugh came back from the United States, that is.
Can you tell me about Lulu?
Lulu is a very old parrot. She must be over 80 years old. Please be very careful with her, especially if you feed her. Parrots have quite delicate constitutions, you know.
Goodbye.
Run along. Who's hungry? Who's ready for some nummies?
Did you say something, Mrs. Drake?
Not to you, dear.
Wonder what happened in there.
Ah yes, are you here from the agency? It's about time.
Agency?
Oh dear, you're not the typist from the spiffy specialty agency, are you? Well, how do you do? I'm Nigel Mukherjee.
Pleased to meet you. My name's Nancy Drew. Are you visiting Blackmoor Manor?
I'm researching the Penvillen family, and Mrs. Drake has graciously opened the library for me. Nothing much has been written about the Penvillens. Until now.
Why do you think that is?
It might have something to do with their scandalous history. Or perhaps it has something to do with the family treasure.
Scandalous history?
Well, having a family member burned as a witch can hardly be considered a mark of pride, I dare say. And then there's the whole business with the Blackmoor beast.
Who was the family member?
Eleanor Penvillen, tried and convicted of witchcraft in 1650, quite the height of the witch trials here in Essex. It was rumored that Cromwell arranged the conviction.
Cromwell?
Oliver Cromwell? Ironsides? I suppose they don't teach history any longer in the US. Lady Penvillen was a rather vocal critic of Cromwell's policies and helped many of his enemies flee the country. Whether she actually was a practitioner of witchcraft is unknown, although many visitors to the manor during her tenure reported hearing strange, ghostly bells. Some even saw phantom hands floating about the manor, tolling their charmed chimes.
Tell me about the Penvillen family treasure.
For centuries, the Penvillens have been very secretive. Some believe they're protectors of a fabulous treasure, or of some dark secret.
Can you tell me about the Blackmoor beast?
It's a story that's been told for generations out here. During the 1600s, many of the villagers reported seeing a strange beast with red eyes and giant fangs prowling the moors. They asked the mistress of Blackmoor Manor, Eleanor Penvillen, to put a bounty on the beast's head. But, oddly enough, she not only refused, she forbade anyone from hunting the creature. It was rumored that the beast was Eleanor's husband, whom she had cursed for finding out too much about the Penvillen secret.
When I was walking up to the house, I saw something with red eyes that called out to me.
Really? How extraordinary. Are you sure it wasn't just jet lag?
Positive, and I heard it make this kind of growling sound.
Perhaps it was the cursed husband of Eleanor Penvillen, prowling about the moors in search of lost Yanks.
Very funny. Who are all those paintings of in the Great Hall?
Those are the Penvillens who owned Blackmoor Manor at one time or another.
Have you seen any runes anywhere in the manor?
You mean like Norse runes? No, I haven't. I don't really know much about them anyway. Dead languages aren't really my bag, you know.
I'll let you get back to your work.
Goodbye. Fascinating piece, isn't it? James Penvillen sculpted it in 1591, although it appears that wand was added at a later date. He was quite a flamboyant figure and never married, but one day, a child appeared quite mysteriously in the castle, and he took her in as his own. That was Eleanor, and many of the townfolk believed her to be a changeling or fairy baby.
Do you mind if I use this computer?
No, not at all, but it's very old. Feel free to use mine if I'm not here. Achoo!
À tes souhaits.
Those manuscripts are very old and brittle. They date back to the 14th century. Odo Penvellyn collected most of them. His father, Randolph, and son Milo were rather more interested in military victories than in book collecting. Interesting. I'm researching Philippe Penvellyn, and it appears that many scholars believe he was a pirate. That would explain his source of wealth. Those are mainly Penelope Penvellyn's collections of French novels. She was a patron to a raft of artists, and her salon was quite popular. She was quite the libertine, even kept her maiden name after her marriage.
Hi, Nancy.
Do you think there's a treasure hidden around here?
I highly doubt it. I mean, if there were, wouldn't someone have already found it? When I asked Ethel about it, she said that it's the Penvellyn name and heritage that should be treasured. Ugh.
Do you know what the password is for the computer in the library?
Yes, but I won't tell. Not unless you beat me at Skull and Bones. My friend Hulga bought this for me. It's like Go Fish, but you have to collect 3 of a kind of weird things like zombies and ghosts. You go first.
Do you have any skulls?
Here you go.
That's a match. Do you have any tombstones?
Here you go.
Do you have any ghosts?
Sorry. Do you have any spiders?
Sorry. Do you have any bones?
Sorry. Any bats?
You're going to have to go dig. Do you have any haunted houses?
Nada. Your witches, please?
Sorry. Do you have any coffins?
Sorry. Do you have any spiders?
Get out your shovel. Do you have any zombies?
Nada. Do you have any spiders?
Get out your shovel. Do you have any bones?
Dig.
That's a match.
Do you have any spiders?
Sorry. Do you have any tombstones?
Here you go.
That's a match. Do you have any haunted houses?
Here you go.
I got a match. Do you have any bats?
Here you go.
I got a match. Do you have any zombies?
Here you go.
Do you have any coffins?
Go dig. Your witches, please?
All yours.
Your witches, please?
Afraid not. Do you have any ghosts?
Here you go.
Do you have any zombies?
Sorry.
I got a match.
Do you have any coffins?
All yours.
Do you have any coffins?
Afraid not. Do you have any zombies?
Here you go.
I got a match. Do you have any spiders?
Here you go.
Do you have any spiders?
Nada. Your witches, please?
All yours. A match? You're doing great.
Do you have any coffins?
Afraid not. You got a match. Good for you. Do you have any spiders? I win.
You won. Good job. Okay, the password for my grandfather's computer is on his coat of arms, plain as day.
I should get going.
Au revoir.
Welcome, my adventurous friend. Don't tell my sister, but there are ghosts in Blackmoor Manor. 13 of them to be exact. The problem is they're very shy, so they only come out when it's very late at night, usually just after midnight, and even then they only show up in quiet places, like the Great Hall, and the hallways and the conservatory. What's worse, they'll only come out for a very short period of time. But if you can find and touch all 13 ghosts in the time you're allotted, come back here and I'll give you a prize, one which I guarantee you'll enjoy. So who's ready to go on a ghost hunt? Oh dear, my watch tells me that the ghosts are not likely to show up right now. Come back between midnight and 4 a.m. Farewell till then.
That must be the food I ordered. Ah, loop-de-loop, otherwise known as soup. This smells delicious. I'm stuffed.